everybody. Welcome to Just Around the Corner. Today I have with me Jordan Harris, and he is the owner of Harris Couples Counseling, Marriage Therapy, and Private Practice Coaching. Welcome, Jordan. Glad that you're here and excited to get to know you more and your practice more.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Yeah. So first off, could you just tell us a little bit more about what you do and what your practice looks like?
Yeah. It's pretty simple, except for the parts that are really complex, right? I'm a couples counselor. That's it. I have stepped away from seeing individuals
Mm.
because I just really want to hone in on really getting good at seeing couples. Um, so that's like 95% of what I do. I have a few individuals who I see once a month, um, or that sort of thing. But yeah, just mostly couples. And that's the approach that I have is a little bit different. Instead of following a certain model, I really try to bring the principles of expertise
Mm.
into my counseling practice, right? So doing the same things that athletes do, um, and to be good at what they do, bringing those same principles into counseling so I can be good at what I do. Um, that gets really sort of lost, I think, because people are like, just help me, So it's not actually what people are asking for, but I really like it because at the heart of what I want to do is I really want to help couples.
Yeah,
Um, so all of what I do kind of drives that sort of tip of the spear of how do I help more couples better, faster, go further.
I like that. Yeah, so you're really focused on couples and you said like expertise. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like practically for you in the counseling room?
Yeah. So what that means is that I record all of my sessions, which not everyone does. I watch my sessions, and I have a coach I meet with once a week to um, give me feedback on my sessions. So I'm like, I mean, I, this sounds weird, but like I'm at the top of like the heap in a way, right? Like I have a PhD, I'm fully licensed, I am a supervisor, but none of those things I think stop me or anybody from growing,
Yeah.
And so uh I still meet with people, and I also, and this is not the most, this part I'm still trying to really smooth out, but I also give people surveys so that we can have sort of an objective measure to see how far they've come.
Mm.
Um, and so that's what it looks like from the client side. But besides that, I really hope that beyond that, what people experience is, oh, wow, this person really hears me. They really feel where I'm coming from. They really can sort of see my perspective and see what I'm struggling. Like that's, I think, like the actual gold standard of is this really working? So
Mm. I like that. Yeah. I think the heart of what you're saying is my ultimate goals for my practice are one, to provide healing and growth for my clients. And I do that by continuing to commit myself to my own professional growth. And I have lots of forms of accountability to that, as well as having objective measures and ways to continue to track client progress. And so that's really neat, to give clients the opportunity to have something that can really show them, like on paper, like, okay, this is where I'm progressing or regressing. Here's kind of like the pace that we're going. And what a valuable thing to have your clients know that, like, hey, I'm constantly working on improving my system. And like, this is a journey for me too. And I think that that's something that is so valuable and shows so much of, like, you can only take people as far as you go. And you're like, I'm committed to continuing to go, which is really, really cool.
yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, it's easy, I think, in almost any area to forget why we do things. And so, I mean, I do all these sort of fancy things to be a better therapist, but it's really all in service of helping couples who are in pain. And that's also why I picked couples,
Mm.
because thinking about it kind of like an athlete or a musician would, like if you really want to get good at one instrument, like the piano, that means you're not going to be practicing how to play the flute.
Yeah.
And so that's why I picked couples, because I mean, I like couples, but also I figured if I really hone in on one type of person, one type of group, then I'm gonna have a better chance at really helping that group than if I was seeing a bunch of different people.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, you're really like saying this is my focus and this is the thing that I'm going to put all my energy and
Yeah,
resources to getting better at,
exactly. Yeah. There you
which
go.
is so cool. And there's so much need for couples counseling. So really invaluable what you're doing and the work and dedication that you're providing to the community. So that's really neat.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, I guess you kind of answered like what your areas of focus are in terms of like your practices. You focus on couples and maximizing the healing opportunities there within that population. Um, and you've even talked about like in some ways like what how you view counseling or how you would describe it. But can you elaborate a little more about like just in general that process? Like how would you describe counseling?
Yeah, this is a great question. Um, so I think the first thing I would have you do is like imagine, like for me, I always think about when I was at summer camp as a kid. Like imagine talking to somebody who you didn't know, right?
Mhm.
But you just sort of like, wow, this person really gets me. And you often end up saying things like a lot more personal than you ever thought you would say. I think that's essentially what therapy is, except that instead of that the person just being a friend, they're helping you to like really work through whatever's keeping you stuck, right? And
Yeah.
then in couples, that person then acts as the bridge between you and your partner
Mm.
so that you two can talk through things at that level. And I think that when couples can do that, that's when the magic really happens. And then they can begin to solve all sorts of problems in their own life. So that's sort of like the metaphor. Um, and then like really practically, what that means is that if I have a couple, they come in, I'm gonna ask them like, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? Where are they getting stuck? Why this thing gets them stuck? Like what's the actual meaning and the emotion behind it?
Mm.
And then can they share that with their partner? So we do lots of talking back and forth in the session between you and your partner. Can you share that with your partner? Can you share that with your partner? Um, and to me, that goes back to this idea of practice, right? Like if you want something that you can do outside of therapy, let's first do it in therapy.
Mm.
And once you can really do it in therapy, you're going to have that skill outside of therapy. So
Mm.
that's sort of the approach that I take.
I love that. Yeah. And it really goes back to the metaphors that you've been using of, being an athlete or being a musician is if you want to be good at running or good at playing the saxophone, you're going to go to somebody who has that experience and they're going to you're going to practice that in those coaching sessions and out. And so what I hear you saying is for you, like counseling is a very involved in the moment, um, like practice that you're doing inside and outside of therapy. And your role as therapist is both to model and facilitate new ways of being that they can practice and integrate into their life that will create healing.
You got it. Yeah. Yep. The only thing I would add to that from a very like practical standpoint is uh I have one day where I'm face to face,
Mm.
and then the other 3 days I'm virtual. Um, and so I think my practice looks a little bit different than some practices, but practices are also looking very different in general post COVID. So
Yeah.
so it's not always, face to face. And I've been actually surprised that you can do the same sort of work over a screen. I mean, if you would have asked me pre-COVID, I would have like, no, that's ridiculous. I'm never gonna do telehealth. And uh then we were forced to, and I had to eat my own words. I had to eat my own words. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know of like that you both offer one day in person, and then you said 3 days via telehealth, which is great and gives people multiple modalities to interact, especially valuable for people um, throughout the state of Arkansas who maybe can't access somebody locally, like if they live in Little Rock and you're here in NWA, like they can still reach you because you offer that telehealth option, which is really great. Um, so that's amazing. And you also like in your just even in your title of your practice, there's private practice coaching. Can you talk a little bit more about that part?
Yeah. So the other thing that I do, I mean, basically my business is two things, right? Seeing clients and then helping other clinicians launch their own businesses. And so on the seeing client side, I focus on couples, right? Couples and marriages. And then in the other side, I help people launch their own practice. Um, which is a lot of fun. And because I'm sort of like, it's funny because I'm not actually a big sports person. Like I don't watch a lot of sports, but I think I do have that mindset. And so, I remember like meeting this kid once, and everybody knows this kid who like knows all the baseball stats
Mhm.
and they know all the football stats and like, oh, this person hasn't done this in this many years and they did this last time at this. I enjoy taking that mindset and applying it to launching a practice. So when we talk about launching a practice, we know like how long you need to keep clients, how much you need to be charging in order to pay your bills. We know how many people need to be calling your phone per week. Like it's like all this statistics sort of like running a practice. So it's sort of I bring the same mentality, right? Of like how do we analyze this and get better? But to building a private practice for therapists and counselors.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you've helped me start my practice, and I've
Years
def
ago, yeah.
yeah, I've definitely really valued and benefited from the knowledge and experience that you have provided. And you have several different ways that people can connect. Um, yeah, can you tell us a little bit more how clients can get connect to you if they want to reach out for therapy, but then also if there are people in the area who are wanting some private practice coaching, how could they also reach out and get connected?
Yeah. So my counseling website is, let me make drjordanharris.com. And that's for clients. If they want to reach out and connect. Jordan the Counselor is the site for coaching.
Okay.
Um, and on both, I have a blog. And so people can easily check out me and what I think about therapy and what I think about coaching. And hopefully there's lots of free information on there so that people can take it and use it for themselves now, not even having to work with me. But if they want to, they can always reach out as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that you offer both. I mean, both are such like big needs of one, just we all need therapy. And so you're providing that aspect. Then also I feel like, you know, and I personally experienced just the need to have other professionals who can help guide you along the journey of becoming like a professional. I feel like in grad school, you learn a lot about what it looks like to be in a room with a client, but you don't learn a lot about what it looks like to be a business owner, to be somebody who is managing a business, which is what you're doing when I mean, even in a context of being in a group practice or something like that, even if there's help there, it's still so valuable and essential to have those skills and knowledge to better your practice. And so I'm so glad that you're doing that and you're helping to provide that for people. And I'm thankful for that. um, yeah, so that's incredible. Um, are there any like other projects or things that you're doing in ways that people can get involved with you or just different projects that you're doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a ton of different projects. You know, the big thing that I want to do is help clinicians help more people and help them to have really healthy businesses. And so that's why I do the two things. And as I thought about this, um, I'm very limited, I only see clients 4 days a week. And so as much as I want to help a lot of people, I can't I just don't always have the space and the time. So because of that, I am moving way more into training now. So for clinicians, I have a book out, Deliberate Practice in Multicultural Therapy, which people can check out. Also, my newsletter I'm starting to give out. I post about the trainings that I'm giving in the area. And so there's always something different, right? Earlier in the year, I gave a couple of trainings for people who are having who are having firstborn, who are having babies at the local Mercy Hospital. I have a training for supervisors coming out in July. I have another training in August on multicultural therapy. So I'm doing a bunch of different things. If you want to get in touch with any of that stuff, though, the best thing to do is to go to my site and sign up. You'll be added to my newsletter, and that'll all come out in my newsletter as it happens.
That's awesome. Yeah. Not surprised that you have a lot of projects going on. You are a go-getter. And so that's awesome that there are so many different ways to connect. And yeah, sounds like the main way is just go to the website, and there are ways to connect with the newsletter, see the different trainings that you're offering. And that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's the main way. Go to the website, subscribe, and then you'll get all that stuff. Just hand delivered into your inbox by little Google fairies, whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before kind of wrap things up?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you having me on, Sarah. Yeah, I think that's it. I think the only thing I would add is if anyone's listening to this, like I know a lot of people come into therapy and they are very, very nervous.
Mm.
And therapy is an inherently vulnerable situation. I mean, to show up is basically to say, hey, something in my life is not going well. And I think what you're offering people is really valuable because you're giving people a sneak peek at their potential counselors. And so my hope is that the more that you do this, the more that people can really have a sense of, okay, this person feels safe for me. I think I can go to this person, talk through things that are really hard. This person feels trustworthy. So I would just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. That's encouraging to hear. And I think, yeah, I loved what you said. And I don't even know if I thought of that, of this being a way to almost like online shop or online date your potential therapist of
Exactly. Yeah.
really is vulnerable, and to take the risk to say, okay, I'm going to see this person's website and their name and maybe a couple little short things about them or their practice, and then all of a sudden I'm just going to go into a room with them and trust my heart, my life, my vulnerabilities, my trauma to them is huge. So yeah, really glad to get to give the opportunity to show people, hey, we're people too. And you get to have say in who you give that trust and vulnerability to.
Yeah.
And just showing and kind of demystifying those resources in that process. So love that.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Well, Jordan, great talking with you. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.